Well, hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is May the 20th, 2020. Strong hand, buy and hold, golden age of the 2020s. Having hype. Oh, yeah, we can still hype it. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. 5-digit round. Compete, don't complain. I'm offended by selling. Don't FOMO on alts. Hey, hello, my elite friends. I'm doing this show a little bit differently today, going old school on you, just going live out of the blue and checking out this way of recording everything. We'll see if it makes a difference. Remember, this Friday, 1:30 p.m., Juan Galt, GG, Guy Swan, This Week in Bitcoin, 1:30 p.m. New York time. And of course, check out This Week in Bitcoin that's already passed at disruptmeister.com. Kyle Kemper, Phil Geiger, and Adam Paul Moore were on. But again, that's the past, disruptmeister.com. The future, this Friday, 1:30 p.m. Baltimore time. It's going to be a good time. All right. So speaking about afternoons, my sleep pattern, I sleep 8 hours, but I've been waking up really late because I've been going to sleep really late. So I wake up and I see the price of Bitcoin. I looked at the chart and I see, well, there was something weird happened. What could happen? What could have caused something like this? Well, apparently some old Bitcoin moved around, and immediately, like clockwork, people start spazzing out, saying it's Satoshi. Satoshi moved some coins. And it just, the panic around Satoshi, the hysteria around Satoshi among the weak hands, it's a centralized manufactured weakness of Bitcoin. Now, I mean, it doesn't, it's not a weakness of the code of Bitcoin, but it's centralized FUD, and it seems to work, and it is so unproductive. It's so unproductive. People immediately hear a rumor about Satoshi. It can be something that is somewhat substantial, like this, 50 Bitcoin removed, or like some random dude in Europe says he's Satoshi, and the news spreads like wildfire. It works every time. People start emailing me about it. No one has patience when it comes to this. No one has patience when it comes to this. They immediately start worrying. The speculators start selling. Other people start panicking. The price goes down. It's every time. It's unbelievable. People aren't used to it yet. I don't know why. But it's it. So, and some people who have stronger hands, they start worrying about it. They start writing about it. All the CoinDesk and Cointelegraph, headline after headline after headline. Everybody and their mother, 80% of video makers, starts making videos about it, puts it in the title, Satoshi moved his coins. And how much productive time is wasted on this is my question. And it's over and over and over again. These are the lessons you can take out of this, okay? If you see a headline like this, something Satoshi related, okay, you take a few steps back and say, you know what? I'm not going to rush to judgment here. I'm not going to do something impulsive after 1 second of hearing about this. I'm going to let 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours pass by and see how it develops, okay? See how it develops. Take a long-term approach to things. You can go, I quote a lot of people on here, okay? I go to a lot of Twitter feeds. I mentioned Nick Carter, Matt Odell, how many Tour de Meester, so many. You guys watch the show, you're regulars. Go to one of those feeds, okay? After an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 have passed and see what they have to say. And here, look at this. Whale Panda, here. This has been confirmed as not Satoshi address by multiple people. But if you could please continue your panic selling so I can buy lower, that would be appreciated, okay? So he was already talking about it. Nick Carter was talking about how this was noise and, calm down, and it's not Satoshi's coins. So, I mean, it is interesting to see how possibly the market would react if there's something very unpredictable like that happened involving if Satoshi's coins moved. It is not, if Satoshi's coins really moved, if they really moved, that would not be positive for the price of Bitcoin in the short term. I think we've seen that. There have been enough experiments and threats of that, empty threats of that to see, okay, no, it's not good because that makes Satoshi one step closer to being known or one step closer to being alive. If that actually, and that's not a positive for Bitcoin. One of the positive things about Bitcoin is the founder it can't be blackmailed. The founder is probably dead. The founder isn't going to dump a bunch of coins. Now, if anything like that eventually did happen, it would not be the end of Bitcoin. It would not be some technical horrible thing like, Bitcoin could be hacked. The likelihood of those things happening are so low, but it seems like their worries are centralized around that, or just anything around Satoshi that can conjure up the mildest of worries, people are fixated on. And so it is a centralized aspect of Bitcoin, unnatural. You can avoid it totally just by being a long-term thinker and being a calm person and by doing your own research. But for the masses out there who get into Bitcoin, it's just something people are obsessed around. And as I said, just when this is going to happen again, some unfounded rumor about Satoshi or his coins will come out. You just go on Twitter instead of cursing at people at Twitter and getting into these, inquisition battles. Use it as a place to learn, okay? And you go to people's feeds who are smart when a story like this breaks, and you read it. You don't read the first spastic article that's out on Cointelegraph, the first clickbait. You don't go crazy about the first clickbait video out there, okay? I mean, I don't see how people have not learned the lesson yet. That so much in this space revolves around clickbait and headline grabbing. I mean, you could say that about life. Life in general is a bit, but come on, we should be one step ahead of regular life here. Don't fall for the nonsense. When big headlines, you need real big headlines should have big proof, and they rarely do. So you just go to the Nick Carters of the world, and hey, please, I love people contacting me about stuff. I have no problem with people DMing me and sending me emails, but come on, guys. You don't know what my reaction is going to be to something like this by now. I mean, people, what is this, Adam? Oh, come on now. Come on. Just, all right. Pound that like button, everybody. If you got questions, I got answers. Someone says your hair is looking great. My hair's looking horrible, dude. Oh man. All right. But thank you for the compliment. Hello from Baltimore, Candyman. We used to, the Candyman was a song by Sammy Davis Jr. And we liked that in my family because, again, my grandfather founded a business. It was a vending company. So they sold candy, and my mother's father, they sold candy and soda. So we liked that song Candyman. We would think of my grandfather, and it was a family business. It was started on my mom's side. So my grandmother, who's still alive, worked there. My grandfather, my uncle, my father continued the vending business for a while. So when I see that name, I think, and I used to eat candy. I never drank soda, but I did play video games. They had. At one time, I didn't smoke cigarettes. They had cigarette machines at one point too. We're going to talk, we're talking about Atari, which is funny because back in when that vending company was much younger, they had video games apparently, in the 80s. So they dealt with Atari. So I like to see, we'll tie in Atari to this right now. What you going to do when the hedge funds dump all over you? Well, the hedge funds don't even own anything yet, man. If you watch yesterday's show, you'll see that the institutions are hardly here at all. If you want to call a hedge fund an institution, is that no? So there's eventually they're going to buy a lot, and they will dump in the future. So your question is, Adam, what are you going to do when Bitcoin is in the 6-digit realm and it's $100,000 and a bunch of institutions and hedge funds, whatever you want to call it, dump and it falls to $60,000? I'll just keep holding my Bitcoin. I mean, because it's always returns to its all-time high. So it'll just be one day closer to its all-time high like it is now. So those things don't faze me at all, because you see, this is the mentality here is people don't understand there's a day after tomorrow. People don't understand that. Or they don't, I mean, they should understand that, but they'll predict something so dire and scary. And yes, there are going to be huge price drop days in Bitcoin. And then every time it returns to its all-time high eventually. You just have to have patience. But certain people don't, and they like to spread FUD. And that's part of this Satoshi thing also. It's just some people get off. They're no coiners. Their whole what they do in this ecosystem, their role in the ecosystem is just to spread FUD. There are actually people, and that's annoying. It's annoying that there are people like that exist in the ecosystem, perhaps like you. All their only job is to spread FUD. And what bothers me is that all these people fall for it, that they're falling for nonsense. So these little jokers out there that love to spread FUD, these trolls, I mean, it works. It works. I mean, CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, they write headlines about what these trolls spread. And then they're then there are people that actually sell on the news that are just trying to manipulate it. But this is where the big boys play. We have to deal with all this stuff. We have to deal with all this. Jeff says, I think Rich, and I can't say the word, he calls them a name, are going to pump and dump Bitcoin for years. There will be dips. Yes. Yeah, Jeff, that's a good thing to say there. That rich people and institutions or whatever, they're going to try to manipulate it for years, forever. There's no rules against. There are no rules against it. If you're in this space, this is where the big boys play. You have to deal with things like that. You just have to. That's part of Bitcoin's life, and a lot of people can't deal with it. They panic sell, and they just get obsessed with nonsense stories, and it wastes their time. Instead of worrying every time about Satoshi moving coins or who Satoshi is, and just saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't buy now, and maybe I should sell now. Learn about other aspects of Bitcoin, those real aspects of Bitcoin, technical aspects of Bitcoin, crypto dividends, ways to get more Bitcoin. How are you going to get more Bitcoin? Don't worry about what happened. Why did some old coins move? Okay. All right. And don't scapegoat. Don't say, I don't want to get into Bitcoin because there are rich people in it that can try to manipulate it. That it should be a challenge to you. Can you have a strong enough hand that you can make it through rich people dumping their Bitcoin or speculators dumping their Bitcoin on fake news like we had today? Can you get through that? And I can. I mean, I've never sold a Bitcoin for fiat. All right. So, yes, Nick Carter has good tweets on this. Yes. So I'm going to read his tweet right now. I'm going to read what he said. That's what people should have done right away. If they were worried, like, well, go to someone like Nick Carter, and you won't be worried at all. He says, okay. There are so many reactionary people. He's not a reactionary person. He didn't get emotional. He took his time. There's actually a lot more debate about the Satoshi coins than people are generally aware of. The way it's reported in the press, you think there was a single gigantic wallet ascribed to Satoshi. In practice, there's significantly more uncertainty over the addresses. Okay, very good. That calms people down, and it's logical. So pound that like button. We're going to talk about the mempool being crowded. A lot of people like the FUD over that. Now, when I see that the mempool is crowded, and I actually have seen that the mempool is crowded, As time goes by, I get more and more Bitcoin. You trade you change your crypto dividends into Bitcoin. If you get free Steam or Hive, you turn that into Bitcoin. So why you would buy any of those things is beyond me. But when I get I get free things every once in a while. I get free altcoins, so I turn them into Bitcoin. And I noticed that it was. The mempool was crowded and that fees were up, and it took a while to move the Bitcoin. But for me, and there's an article here in decrypt.co that talks about this. It's that since the halving, it's been crowded. People have been moving Bitcoin, you can say using it, you can say whatever, but that's a positive. More and more people, but people are going to use it as a FUD saying fees are too high. Fees are too high. They're higher than they were before, and they're going to get higher, and it's going to get crowded. But if you want things to move fast, if you really got to move that Bitcoin, then you're going to pay more. You're going to pay for, like me, I was in no rush, and it took a few hours or whatever to move. And it's no big deal to me. I didn't need it. I wasn't buying coffee with it. Who the heck buys coffee with regular Bitcoin? Okay. I don't know. I mean, that's what the Lightning Network is for. All right. And who's using that now? I mean, still, I've said this a million times. There's people are asking me, when is there going to be mainstream adoption? Well, what is mainstream adoption for you? Does that mean like people are buying small coffee with Bitcoin? I mean, I don't really care when that happens because right now, compared to 2016, it's much more mainstream. Okay. Bitcoin is much more mainstream. The more people in the mainstream definitely know what it is and definitely hold it. Are they buying coffee with it? No. But in 2024, same thing. I can tell you, it'll be a lot more people that are handling Bitcoin than are currently. Will they be buying coffee with it? Will Lightning Network be very popular by then? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not a Lightning Network freak. A lot of you think it's very, very, very important that that you go outside and you can go to a coffee shop and see things priced in Bitcoin, and so you can give away your precious Bitcoin on the Lightning Network to get coffee. Okay, that's your prerogative. This is where the big boys play, so we can have people like that, and we can have people like me who understand what savings gets you in the long run, and what a store of value is, and the importance of having value that cannot be stolen by a private entity or a government or et cetera, et cetera. All right, so spaz out on the mempool if you want to, or you can just wait till the weekends to move things too. Usually it's not as crowded on the weekends and cheap. All right, you can retweet me. There's link to below. It says retweet Adam outside. It's pretty funny. I'm in front of a homeless person's tent, and there's another one of a robot going by me. Also, go to Reddit. You can upvote something at Reddit that involves my old website. And I wanted to say I brought up speaking of my original YouTube channel. You're watching me on the backup channel right now. And I spoke about this, how I am on. People are listening to this right now because of Anchor. I put all these shows in podcast form, and you can go to sportsmeister.com and plenty of old shows there. Anchor is actually owned by Spotify. So I mentioned Joe Rogan going over to Spotify and how that could hurt YouTube. If enough, he's taking all of his viewers from YouTube over to there, but other people could follow him and be like, "Ooh, well, I want to be on Spotify now because Joe's on there." And I'm going to benefit from this is what my point is. I'm already on Anchor, so I'm already on Spotify because I'm part of Joe Rogan's team. So for the people who are frustrated with YouTube, and I can understand why you're frustrated, learn about podcasts, go to Spotify, go to Anchor. If you create your own YouTubes, it's easy to change them over to podcast form and go over there. And that's slapping YouTube a little bit, okay? And definitely listen to stuff over there. And hey, it takes away hours spent on YouTube, and they will notice it, and perhaps they will become more responsible that way. Compete, don't complain. I like it, and Spotify and Joe Rogan are amping up the competition there. So very good. And my to tell you the truth, this week that has just passed by was my most popular podcast week ever. Okay, more people listen to my podcast than than any other week. So perhaps it's coincidence. Who knows? So Atari, I can't believe I should have said this beforehand. Atari, which made video games in the 80s or something, and the Litecoin Foundation have partnered up. I get an email from the Litecoin Foundation. Is this 1985? I mean, what's going on here? The Litecoin Foundation announced today a multifaceted partnership with Atari, one of the world's most iconic consumer brands and entertainment producers. The partnership between Atari and Litecoin Foundation will extend into multiple areas to include the use of Litecoin across gaming platforms within the Atari ecosystem, along with other potential ventures such as joint merchandising. They have an Atari coin that's coming out, Atari chain. I linked to that also. So basically, Litecoin saying, hey, you can buy Atari stuff with Litecoin. I don't know, man. I'm no gamer. Is Atari even a major player or a medium-sized player in this market? I mean, I would think Litecoin Foundation could buy Atari one day. I don't know. Seems like they're going in different directions. I'm no expert, but it's a way to get their name out there, Litecoin to get its name out there. And these altcoins, which are centralized, this one's centralized around a foundation a little bit. They got to market them. They got to market somehow. So this is kind of unique. I wouldn't pick Atari as a partner, and they're selling Atari coins at Atari, and you can use Litecoin to buy it. Why would you want Atari coin? I don't know. But hey, Litecoin freaks are happy that I mentioned Litecoin. And again, Bitcoin does not have partnerships with private groups. Okay, private entities can use Bitcoin and can say it's their official coin. That's awesome. But there's no Bitcoin doesn't issue press releases. This is just Litecoin is a different animal. So that's a wacky email that I got there. And something I forgot to say yesterday when I was talking about DeFi. I've said this before, but on the Ethereum side of things, DeFi is definitely the next ICO. So many people are going to build stuff with Ethereum that might not even be really DeFi. They're just going to call it DeFi. Say, hey, buy my DeFi related coin token. Give me your Ethereum. I will give you more Ethereum. Use my platform. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. And big entities are going to lose a lot of money on it. Remember, people are saying, oh, millionaires come in here and they manipulate things, and companies come into the space and they manipulate things. Well, they also do real stupid things and buy Atari coin, and stuff like that. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. And so they will help pump DeFi also. Do not be part of the herd and say, ooh, this big entity bought a bunch of DeFi. They're a brand name group. I better get in on the DeFi craze too. No, what you do at that point, you take a few steps back before you start to gamble in DeFi. You rewind, you go back to 2017, and you see how someone just like you was saying the same stuff about ICOs, and look what it got them. All right. I'm going to end the show in a second. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to see if there are any other questions over here. Fitting in is overrated. I'll tell you that. Did Satoshi move? No, Titan Boss Satoshi didn't move. Did you? Titan Boss, did you miss the beginning of the show? I don't know. Are you just trying to be funny? He's asking if Satoshi moved the coins. No, they weren't Satoshi coins. All right, dudes. Oh yeah, but fried pork chop says something here. He says, You were saying the guy who originally got you into podcasts originally was a crazy conspiracy theorist you ended your friendship with. Anyone we may know about. Well, I will say, I'm going to say one thing. He was right about podcasts. He was right about, I can admit when I'm wrong. When he told me about podcasts, he's like, it's going to compete with YouTube. You got to get on it now. And he got me onto podcast originally. And I didn't believe it for the longest time. And then when he said something in this very chat that was totally insane, I couldn't stand for it. I mean, he had done some other things that were kind of sketchy, that were conspiracy oriented. And when he said something in this chat that was just totally insane, I said, dude, I can't do business with you anymore. You're not making any money off of me. I stand for something. And what he said, I couldn't take, you can't deal with someone like this. And we went our separate ways. But I can admit when I was wrong. I was right to go my separate ways with him. I was wrong about the podcast in terms of competing with YouTube. He was right about that. But his conspiracy stuff was nuts. And then it took me a few months after those podcasts ended that he did, it took me more than a few months, 9 months or so, to go to Anchor, because Anchor made it easy. There was no easy option before that. He was making it easy for me, but I couldn't do what he was doing. I didn't have time to do it. So Anchor, which is awesome, makes it so easy to do your own podcast. So from everything that I just said, you should be able to actually figure out who this person is. I'm not saying his name. He's a behind the scenes person, but he's been on my show before. I gave him a chance to be on my show. No one else did. But of course, those shows were on my original channel, and right now the YouTube has taken that channel down. So who cares who it was? But I'm willing to very much admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about in 2018. Definitely, he was right. I was wrong. So you should be able to admit when you're wrong and stuff. So that's what I just did. Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below, and follow me on Twitter, Techbalt, TECHBALT. And yeah, let me give a shout out to Jim here, BitPiggies. Okay, bye.